You know that saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow's a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Well, there are plenty of times when we've been living in everything but the gift of the present, right? We're worrying about past mistakes and future unknowns. We're missing the peace that we have access to right here, right now. Hi, and welcome back to the Balance Journey. This is episode 2 in my series on divine guidance. And today let's unwrap the present. Let's learn how to let go of what was or what might be, so we can actually finally find the contentment in right now. Let's do that a little bit better than we've been doing. Because the truth is, and you and I both know it, God is with you and me in the right now. So if we're tired of missing it, if your mind races between regret and worry, then maybe this episode is exactly what your heart wants to hear. So let's just take a deep breath with each other and consider how letting go for your peace can be done. You can let go for your peace by remembering one word, a word that will help you be more mindful about receiving the gift of right now. So let's dive in.
This is the Balance Journey, where we're all about turning challenges into growth opportunities and bringing mindfulness to everyday life.
You know, a word that can really make a world of difference in your sense of peace and your sense of contentment? The word is partnership. Partnership with Spirit, where you always have an open door to Spirit's love and peace, guidance, wisdom, encouragement, all of it. But you're seeing it as a partnership. And maybe that sounds too easy of an answer, but just think about it. We all know the spiritual narrative, where sometimes it makes us feel like it's wrong, that you're weighed down by regrets or worries, you should just let it go, give those emotions and worries to God. And it sounds good, and we can successfully do that. But what if you added this additional thing where you said, this is a partnership with God. And therefore, if I'm going to give myself credit for the fact that thinking about the past and planning for the future, well, that just means I'm staying engaged in life. That's not a bad thing. Obviously, the worries about it, the anxiety about it, that's probably because you have not engaged in the partnership part, okay? So it's okay for you to consider ways that you can make a difference, or you want to be part of the solution, or you want to, mend bridges, or whatever you need to do. That's fine. This idea of being content within the present and finding inner peace with that, I really think partnership, this concept, is really going to help to give you more of that sense. Because then the main goal for you, even though of course those thoughts are going to go through your mind about, what you need to do and how you need to resolve something or whatever, you can distill your goal to just be, how do I feel into this partnership? You already are relying on God. You already feel that you want to include God in any of your choices and all of that. So this turmoil that you might be going through, where you don't feel like you can find the peace of the moment, right? And be having some inner peace in the present. Let's just ask for Spirit's help with this process. Please participate with me in this process. You might say, God, I trust you. I trust that you are always alongside me. So you already know you're not out somewhere. You're right here within. So Spirit, help me to know that you are right here. Help me to realize that you are just simply the other side of me. And together, I want to be curious with you about what actually does it feel and look like in practice to bring to you the worries, to contemplate the things that I'm trying to sort out so that I can figure out a plan for what I want to achieve, or what I want to do to bring more harmony or more balance in my family or whatever, right? So yes, partnership, that is the thing that you and I can choose. We can choose it at any time and in multiple scenarios, because that's what letting go for peace can be. At least in my experience, that's the case. That does give you a sense of contentment for the present, because a lot of what you're doing in thinking about the past, considering the future, is a sense of being active. So partnership in the now, knowing what's already happened in the past, knowing you're going to be dealing with things in the future, the sense of peace and contentment for the now, you get to still be active because you're being active in partnership, in just, like kind of having a dialogue and talking about the things that are concerning you and whatever, always seeking to have this openness of mind and heart so that you can see, how does God want to guide this? How does God want to nudge me or inspire me so that I say, I never thought about that. I'm gonna pursue that direction. Because you're always seeking for creating more balance. You're always seeking for, how can I be more harmonized, with partnerships and with life partners and stuff. So the beautiful thing is that we're not alone. And instead of feeling like God's out there and I can come to God when I'm not worrying and when I'm not anxious about the future, the partnership idea is going to give us this permission. You will become better at knowing this actual experience of what it feels like in this partnership, what it feels like to commune and go back and forth, and to include spirit in all the moments of your day, in all the things that are playing over in your mind and so forth. Ask for guidance, ask for open-mindedness, ask for broader perspectives, and also ask for grace for yourself, because that's the part that we still are always the worst at. We're beating ourselves up. We're thinking we're supposed to be perfect already. Let's just stay engaged in the partnership of continuing to bring things back and forth so that, in a sense, we will feel God's peace in the sense that we are being active, we are staying awake and alert, and we're going to see the things we need to keep shifting, because it's a constant movement. It's not make a plan and execute and no moving parts are going to be involved, right? We'll always be playing with all kinds of aspects. And so the partnership part is what I hope will give you that sense of inner peace, that you are staying active, staying engaged, but you're also so supported. So supported. So if you clicked on this video because you wanted to have more peace, right? And you wanted to feel more contentment in your day, I really hope that you will feel that more fully as a lived experience by remembering that you and we are always in partnership. And now we can say, I want to remember that word and I want to activate it. I want to use it. I want to feel like I am engaged in that way. We are so partnered with the most reliable, trusted, omnipresent, cooperative friend. And in that sense, we still will have things from the past that we're going to have to resolve, even though we will always be preparing for things in the future. The thing that we're going to actually let go of is the idea that we are carrying all of it by ourselves. I think that's what we really need. We're not afraid of facing life, of handling struggles, figuring out the path ahead. We just want to feel like the participation that we bring, it matters. That's what we want. And at least for me, and I hope for you, knowing that God is with me and sees me, that brings me a deep contentment that it does matter. So, as you begin to experience this partnership more deeply in your own daily life, you might find yourself wondering, well, how do I actually hear Spirit's guidance? In the midst of noise, in the midst of chaos and, the things happening around, how do I distinguish between anxious thoughts of my own and God's gentle wisdom? Because it is a practice and it's personal. And I'm really not going to be able to tell you exactly, but I would like to share with you the next video that will be coming up in a week. You'll find it in my playlist once it's been published. It's called Listening to Your Inner Wisdom, Spiritual Clarity in a Busy World. And I hope that that will be a good continuation. It's episode 3 in this series, because besides being in partnership with Spirit, the work is learning to recognize and trust that still small voice, right? The voice of God that is within us, that is part of us, that speaks back and forth to us. And it's waiting for you and me to just pause to listen. So if you're ready to talk about that, I will see you in the next video. And remember, you and we are never walking the journey alone. We have the best partner ever.